And we begin with matters security in northern Kenya, where Garissa, Wajir and Mandera counties have received new criminal investigations department commanders in changes affecting more than 50 senior CID officers. A move aimed at enhancing security in the northeastern Kenya that is bearing the brunt of Al-Shabaab attacks. This new CID commander for Garissa County is former head of anti-terror police unit Boniface Moniki, while Said Baruch will be in charge of Mandera County and Kerry Nyawida will take over Wajir. The counties in the northern part of Kenya have been badly affected by insecurity. CID Director Ndegwa Muhoro announced the changes, saying they are aimed at ensuring crimes within the affected counties are addressed. The movement of Mwaniki, the former ATPU head of Garissa, is seen as a strategy to address terror threats that have been on the rise in that region at large. It's the part of the changes that have been implemented since the Garissa College siege that left 148 people dead, most of them students. Local commanders have since been moved and new ones posted there. And still in the region, we have in Mandera, we have soldiers who are injured by Al-Shabaab militants in Lamu over the weekend got one kind of a visit on Wednesday morning. President Uhuru Kenyatta, alongside the newly appointed Chief of Defense Samson Motheve, celebrated the soldiers who were injured while combating the Al-Shabaab militants trying to attack the Lamu base. The president said that Al-Shabaab are losing the war in Somalia and that they are cowards for bringing the battle to Kenya's soft targets like Lamu. The KDF officers are currently recuperating at the Armed Forces Memorial Hospital in Nairobi.
We are there to support that country, to stabilize that country at the request of the African Union, not under any other request. And we will continue with our mission, as Africa will continue with her mission. And neither shall we be intimidated by those cowards who choose not to fight in the open front, but choose soft targets. And the mere fact that they choose soft targets means that they themselves are losing the war and they are seeking to cowardize us as a population. We will not agree.
We will fight this war to the very end to make sure that we make Kenya safe and sound again. We will follow them in the bush, we will follow them at sea, we will follow them everywhere they go until we make sure that they are out of our borders.
Elsewhere, the Kenya Women Parliamentary Association is now seeking to convince the chair of Legal Committee, Samuel Chepkonga, to withdraw the bill on the two-third gender rule and seek consensus on achieving the two-third gender balance as the August deadline on the gender party rule fast approaches. This comes as the Attorney General says the Cabinet will sit to deliberate on modalities of achieving the gender balance equation.
In terms of lobbying, we are saying bringing Chepkonga to the negotiating table because we have no authority to drop his bill. We can only negotiate.
We are going to go to seek that all the proposals that are on the table, one being the one by the technical working group, which myself and Senator Sijeni proposed to bring on the floor, that of Honorable Soipan, that of the Chepkonga bill that is under the Jailer Committee, and Agostino Neto's bill, that we are going to seek to bring all these bills together on a negotiating table.
We have now decided to leave the boardroom. We have to take this issue back to the grassroots, and I totally agree with that. We have to allow the women of Kenya at the grassroots to own the process, the opinion leaders at the grassroots, and the political class and leaders.
And I would like to give this as a preliminary proposal to have two women per county, the county seats. Why can't we have it that one of those women is above 35 and the other one is below 35?
I'm afraid about if we do not come up with a system that allows some competition and rewards those that show the greatest amount of commitment to the implementation of this constitutional principle.
To ask Honorable Chepkonga to withdraw his bill number one. And we must use all the powers on land, in the sea, and on air. And I'm sure you understand what I mean by that. The powers of Honorable Mandera and the Speaker and the leaders who are here and the Attorney General are somewhere. So we must now put all our pressure on Honorable Chipuna. Yes. Even if it means going to his house, talking to his great wife.
We remain committed. And as we speak here today, the Cabinet memorandum on this issue is lying with Cabinet Office and may be debated as early as tomorrow, Thursday.
Elsewhere, the Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya, CIPK, Nyeri branch, has lashed out at those advocating for terrorism on the pretext of fighting for Islam, saying true Islam does not advocate for what groups such as Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda perpetuate. While speaking in Nyeri town, the chairman of the Nyeri branch, Uledi Majid, said radicalization should be stopped at all costs. He, however, said that lack of job opportunities for the youth was a contributing factor to Muslim youth being recruited by terror groups. Uledi, who was accompanied by other Muslim leaders in Nyeri, also asked security officials in Nyeri to allow Muslims to mark Ramadan in peace, as some will be leaving mosques in Nyeri at late hours after prayers.
Tunaomba serikali katika huu wakati wa Ramadhan wawe pamoja na sisi katika kutupatia security, kama vile ambavyo wamesema kwamba kuna zile swala za usiku ambazo tunaziswali za tarawih. Tutakuwa tukitarajia na vile tutakaa na serikali hapa kwa sababu ya amani. Vile tunachukua muda huu pia tukiombea nchi nzima amani.
Hiyo mambo ya radicalization kutokea hapo, vile nafikiri governor wetu na serikali yake atajihusisha sana kupitia kwa hiyo County Policing Authority kumaliza hiyo mambo ya vijana kwenda mbali. Vile mashehe katika misikiti tunawaambia wakihubiri kwamba tofauti ya mambo ya jihadi, kujitolelea muhanga kwa upuzi, hii mambo ya kudanganywa vijana wetu kwamba ati anaenda kupigana akifa ati ataenda wapi, ataenda peponi ama nini, hiyo ni urongo. Hakuna jihadi. Jihadi mzuri ni ya kupigana nafsi yako, kuacha mambo mabaya, kufanya kumwabudu Mwenyezi Mungu. Na hakuna katika Qurani pahali tunaambiwa tuue ama mtu anaambiwa auwe ati atakwenda peponi kuwa bila sababu. Hiyo ni vibaya. Na huko Thika na Mombasa vile kama Council of Imams and Preachers of Kenya tulisema hiyo ndio itakuwa jukumu letu la kwanza, kushirikiana na serikali kumaliza hiyo, kuna kwamba hakuna vijana wetu wataushikwa na hiyo. Tena ni vipande yote mbili, Waislamu na wasiokuwa Waislamu.
Elsewhere, a family in Trans Nzoia is seeking justice after their son, who was working in South Sudan, was allegedly arrested and jailed for 4 years. The family of Emmanuel Nyongesa Shiundu from Kiminini constituency claim their son went to South Sudan in 2008 in search of greener pastures after he was unable to find employment in Kenya. Emmanuel is said to have gotten employment as a supervisor in a private business belonging to a Mr. John Deng, a Sudanese nationalist. But on request to take his annual break, his boss declined to let him. This prompted him to leave at his own will. However, he was allegedly intercepted, arrested and accused of stealing from his boss. He was taken to court in South Sudan and he was charged for stealing and given a 3-year jail term, which he served until January this year. But after completing his jail term, he is still detained, and the accuser, John Deng, is now demanding for 1.6 million shillings so that he can be released and come back to Kenya.
Ikiwa hiyo contract haitapatikana, kijana wangu hatakuja. Naomba serikali ya Kenya kupitia kwa rais wetu Uhuru pamoja na deputy wake Bwana Ruto mtusaidie tuweze kuona mtoto wetu. John yule wa Nile Global alikuwa anadai kijana wangu 74,000 Sudanese pounds, ambapo ni zaidi ya milioni 1.5. Ambapo hata nikiuza shamba langu ambao naishi ni eneo la nusu ekari, haziwezi zikatosha.
And back to northern Kenya in Mandera, the state was promising changes in security deployment. The government says it will beef up security by developing more troops to track down pockets of Al-Shabaab militants allegedly roaming villages in northeastern region. This according to Area Regional Commander Ambassador Muhammad Saleh. Ambassador Saleh said that the government is aware of the changing tact by the militants who have invaded villages along the border where they are allegedly spreading their doctrine. This as members of parliament from Mandera County have committed themselves to support the government in the war against Al-Shabaab menace in the region.
Whether the Kenyan is going to win the war against Al-Shabaab, yes, we are determined to win. Nothing else will stop us to win. The will is there, both from the government and the people now. With that joint collaboration and determination, there's no doubt why we should not be able to win. This is not Afghanistan. This is a different country. The dynamics are different. So we are really determined to win this war against Al-Shabaab.
We pleaded our support that we are going to work with them, with the security teams, to work together with them so that they can be able to deal with these people for good. As you know, Al-Shabaab has really caused a lot of damage to this region. They have affected a lot of lives in this region. They have managed to scare away all our teachers, all our medical staff. They have made our roads impassable. They are loitering, at will within our region. So we discussed how to deal with this matter.
And moving on, a good number of Nairobi residents lose more than 1 hour every week in a traffic snarl-up. 48% of these are those who use public transport, while 57% use the private means of transport, with 30% of the general population losing a job from the same. It is a transport research conducted by research firm Ipsos Synovate, which suggests that a good number of Nairobi residents prefer other modes of transport, such as bicycles, if they are made available by the transport sector. However, they feel that they have been left out in developing transport policy, thus the current mess in the city.
So how would you like to travel around Nairobi if cost was not an issue? For the general population, again, we know only about a third of them own cars, but we see here that 60% say we would rather use a private car. And that is aspirational because about 2/3 of them don't even have cars. If time was not an issue, again, they still want to use private cars, but 16% would walk.
It's high time we forget about our private vehicles, because the statistics have also indicated that wherever you have got vehicles, concentration, pollution also deteriorates.
Can we have BRT system in the city with the aim of convincing most people who use their own personal vehicles to leave their personal vehicles at home and start using public transport? But from the study you can get the concerns being raised. Some of these concerns touch on safety.
And in Nakuru County, Finance Executive Francis Mathea's fate hangs in the balance following a report by the County Assembly recommending his removal for alleged incompetence. The Nakuru County Assembly Finance Committee has accused Mathea of sanctioning and implementing revenue automation system costing millions of shillings. The Assembly says the system is defective and has caused a loss to the county as the county continues losing revenue despite automation of revenue collection. The committee expressed its shock after discovering that some of the revenue collection machines had only collected 80 shillings since the beginning of the year.
The county treasurer left this honorable house to speculate on these issues, despite this house being a critical government arm in policy and budget-making process. Executive are totally disregard to implement them.
Tumeona ya kwamba ni kana kwamba kuna mtu ambaye anawazuia ama anawakinga wale watu wakubwa, wale wale ambao ni wanabiashara wakubwa, lakini wale ambao ni wanabiashara wadogo, ambao ni mwananchi wa kawaida, ambaye ni vota wetu, yeye mwenyewe amefinywa zaidi, na tunahakikisha kwamba hata kama halipi anapigwa mpaka faini. Tukiangalia kama hizi billboards zote ambazo zimewekwa Nakuru County, hakuna hata moja ambayo ishawahi lipa hata senti.
Welcome back to KTN Newsdesk. My name is Abi Agina. It's now time for our business chat segment. And joining me in studio is none other than Paul Wambua, the Chief Executive Officer of Stima Sacco, just to help us understand what it takes to grow your savings. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you, Abi, for having me. Thank you very much.
Looking at the growth of Saccos within the country, it has been one of the areas that has been experiencing significant growth in terms of their book balances as well as customer size. From where you see it, are you seeing a situation where Kenyans are growing their savings?
Thank you very much, Abi. It's true what you say, that Saccos on a year-to-year basis, on average, we've been doing over 20% in the last 10 years or so in terms of balance sheet growth. We've also done well in growing the membership, growing savings, growing the market segments within which Saccos operate, and also including growing the outreach. In every county you'll find a very strong Sacco that is serving Kenyans. So indeed we've enjoyed a lot of growth in the last couple of years from 2002.
Maybe what's really driving this growth?
One is, and we have to thank the government in terms of providing a statutory, regulatory as well as legislative enabling environment. The landscape has been friendly, especially with the coming in of the Sacco Act 2008, creating a regulator specifically for Saccos, and this has created, enhancement of the confidence level that Kenyans have. This is demonstrated by, in the last 3 years, very, good growth in terms of deposits, in terms of the loan book, in terms of more Kenyans coming to the forum, the Sacco industry. In fact, Kenya is a leading growing country in terms of membership in the whole of the world right now, and that is very good, and we really appreciate this. Of course, we have got other drivers. Technology has been one of them. Technology is also driving our growth because our members are able to leverage on technological platforms to access loans, to access savings platforms.
Speaking about technology, just the other day you released a very innovative product named Empower.
Yes, indeed, and which really is a milestone for us, because what we are doing right now is to enable our members to access services without necessarily visiting any of our brick and mortar branches. That has got a lot of advantages. One is it reduces the cost of transactions, it creates convenience to the membership, it saves them time, and ultimately an efficient financial system is good for the membership and for Kenyans, because that will enable many more people to access Sacco facilities through cost-effective mechanisms like technology. Empower for us is something that we are proud of, and we hope to grow it significantly to also access our diaspora membership, because we are very keen as one of our strategic objectives to grow our membership through the diaspora market, especially in areas like the USA, Australia, Canada, South Africa, and even UK, where we have a significant proportion of Kenyans living in the diaspora.
Looking at your current customer base, you are talking about 36,000 members who are now going to be able to access these financial services using just their phone. So technically this means a lot of activity is expected to happen in terms of more people are able to access the product. What does this portend for you as a Sacco which is at the verge of crossing over, let's say, to even being a big bank?
Indeed, we are now at 45,000 members, and what you say is true, that we are creating more channels, alternative channels to serve our members. The other thing, of course, for us is we hope that this is one area that can get more Kenyans to join us. We have targets of growing our membership to 300,000 in the next 5 years. We have a target of ensuring that we have a footprint in every area of this country in whatever form, and therefore technology to us is one of the alternative ways of being able to access our brand in the country without necessarily investing in expensive capital outlays in terms of physical branches. The other thing, of course, is that we know that we are all living in an an information economy. We are also very keen to tap the youth, because we, as a Sacco, we do know that we need the youth to create our growth, and therefore youth, to them, technology is a lifestyle, and we see that as an opportunity. We also are taking advantage of the confidence that Kenyans now have on technological platforms. As we all know, in the last 8 or 9 years or so, of M-Pesa, of M-Shwari. The other important thing, of course, is that to us, financial access, playing a role in enabling Kenyans access financial services, is a contribution to Vision 2030. And we believe that the more we can be able to get Kenyans to join our Sacco and also to join the entire Sacco system, getting Kenyans to play a role in savings and mobilization of domestic resources, the better for this country, because financial access, financial deepening, financial broadening of access to financial services is a key national economic objective of the country.
And maybe finally, just looking at the savings culture of Kenyans, it hasn't been that quite, I would say, up there because of a number of factors. And being one of the leading Saccos in the country, from a personal finance perspective, what does it take for a Kenyan to grow his or her savings?
I agree with you that we haven't done very well in calculating and promoting a culture of national savings, something that is very well articulated in Vision 2030. The goal of the government is to grow gross domestic savings. I mean, savings as a percentage of gross domestic product to about 17–30%. But of course, there are things we need to do. One of them is we need to introduce financial literacy at the basic level of our education system. I think that is a right that we need to give to our children, and therefore, for us in Saccos, education is an investment. We see that as something that needs to be done. We obviously want to ask the government to reduce a lot of statutory restrictions, because as Saccos today, we are not part of the national payment system formally, because we have to partner with other organizations to be able to access the national payment system. Some of the things that as Saccos we see ourselves being able to do, if the legislation and the regulatory framework allows us to do, letters of credit, LCs, Forex, those are trade finance, performance guarantees. Those are opportunities that a lot of our members who are doing SMEs, and where a lot of Kenyans get jobs and where the government gets a lot of taxes, need to be enabled. And this is an area that we see Saccos partnering with the government to create jobs, to grow the economy, and to provide better services to Kenyans.
Thank you, Mr. Paul Wambua, for making time to be with us.
Thank you very much, Abby,
for those interesting perspectives around what's happening in the Saccos industry.
Thank you very much.
Let's now cross over to Ian Wafula, who...
And that story brings us to a close this afternoon. Our Twitter handle is @KTN Kenya. Do let us know what is happening around you, and we shall be glad to inform the rest of the country. My name is Ian Wafula. For now, however, enjoy the rest of your viewing.